good morning also from my side. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry to interrupt your networking, but now I will present the Open Data Hub 2.0. I've inserted a slide about the Open Data Hub. You already heard a lot about it, so I won't stay on this slide longer. You already know that it's a platform to share and get data to build application based on real data. I will try to explain you before to going more into detail of the Data Browser 2.0, why we decided to improve and to implement a new version of the data browser. As you already heard, we have 3 data spaces, 2 old data spaces, tourism and mobility. They are already consolidated, and we are kicking off this year the agricultural one, so the 3rd one. We have more than 30 data providers. You have seen before me, SkyAlps is one example. They are sharing with us more than 100 data sets and more than 3 terabytes of data. And so you already heard also how you can access to these tools. Some of these tools have been already been presented by Patrick and Roberto before me. The first one and the most generic one is the website, where you can find information about the whole Open Data Hub project, but also the list of all data set with some information. Then we have the Data Browser 1.0, which is mainly focused on the content data that are mainly provided by the tourist data space. Then, as Roberto presented before me, we have Analytics, which is a tool more created for the sensor data or time series data, which are mainly related to the mobility domain. Then Patrick presented also the web components, this widget that can be easily integrated in websites that are collected on our webcomponents.opendatahub.com website, and there you find all web components you can integrate in your website. And the last 2 I will present are the most technical one, Swagger, to test the API and see the first documentation, the first explanation on how the API works. And then the API itself, we have 2 REST APIs where you can get the data to be integrated in your application. But a lot of data, a lot of ways to access to it could lead in a little bit of confusion in our users that do not know where should I go to see all data the Open Data Hub shares, and how can I see all visualization opportunity I have. So nearly 1 year ago, we decided to implement a new version of the data browser with a clear goal in mind, have a unique access point to all data sets we are exposing as soon as they are exposed by the Open Data Hub API. So our customers knows that if they go on the data browser, they see all data the Open Data Hub is exposing without any doubts. And today, finally, I can announce that we put online the past week the first beta version. So at the link you see here at the bottom, you can browse the data. For the moment, only the content data, which are mainly related to the tourist domain, but in the near future we will add also the mobility, the agricultural one, and all the other data that the Open Data Hub has. So don't be shy, access, test it. We are happy to hear about you. And now I will go a little bit more into detail about the functionality that the Data Browser 2.0 already has. As said before, one of the goals was to be able to expose the data as soon as the Open Data Hub has exposed it in their API without nearly any action needed but by our developer. And so we implemented the view you see here at the left side, the generated view, which is a view that doesn't need any configuration to show and render the data on the data browser. Obviously, they are not nice, easily accessible, or easy readable for maybe people who don't have a little bit of technical knowledge, but everyone can browse it and see it as soon as we expose it from our APIs without waiting time to configure, develop new components, and so on. In parallel, we have also a more user-friendly view, because our customers are not only technicians. The most of the time, we have to present the data to people that has a little technical knowledge. So we decided to implement also an embedded view that renders the data in a more user-friendly, in a more nicer way, but with an easy configuration. We tried to keep the configuration of the of the dataset as easy as possible in order to be as quick as possible in exposing new dataset on the data browser. In parallel, we allow already to edit the data. Thanks to the authorization and authentication system you have seen before presented by Patrick, it is possible to access and log in into the data browser, see also the data you have the rights to see that are on request, and edit the data you have the rights to edit. In order to help the users to understand what is exactly changing in the JSON, we implemented also a JSON diff that compares the JSON before and after the changes that the user is doing, so to help him to understand what is he changing, where and what, and understand a little bit more how the backside works. Then we think that it's important for our customer also to find the data that they are looking. We have some dataset that have more than 1,000 records, and maybe the users are interested in one of two of them. So we implemented also a sorting, filtering, and searching functionality. All three are in a basic version that it will be for sure improved on top of the feedbacks we will receive from our users, but we already provide a first step to easily access to the data. Then our customers are not only data editors or data consumer. We have also the developers that has to integrate the data in the application, and they have to know how the data is structured. So we decided to provide also the possibility to view the raw JSON file as it is provided by the APIs, so the developer can go through it in an easy way and understand how it's structured, how it works, and implement it easily in his application. There is the possibility also to download the JSON to elaborate it, see it, and make some elaboration with specific tools. And here on the right side, we decided also to provide the API link that the developer can copy and paste in his code in order to get exactly the data he is viewing in the view he is seeing on his screen. So he can configure maybe in a table to see a specific data set with specific filter, copy and paste this link in his app, and he knows exactly that the data he sees are integrated also in the app. These are the main functionality we already implemented. We know that today it's not an arrival point, but a starting point for improving our tools. We have already a plan of the next steps. As I said before, the first one and the biggest one probably is the integration of the mobility domain and the agricultural one, which means that we have to integrate completely another different kind of data, like time series, like sensor data, like public transportation data that has schedule and so on, and that are structured in a different way. So it will be a big effort to try to integrate those data by keeping a UX as simple as possible for the final user. Then we will provide also the possibility to configure the table view that the user is seeing. So the user will have the possibility in the future to choose the column and the values to be rendered in the columns, and then maybe export it in a CSV file that can be used to be analyzed in another tool that he is more comfortable to. For the technicians, we will also provide the possibility to edit in the raw view the JSON file, because some developers told us, I'm quicker to to change the data in the JSON file and not in the structure you have. We will have also to improve the navigation and the mobile version on top of the feedback we will receive from the user. And last but not the least, we will have also to increment our documentation, improve our documentation and how-tos to help our users in find the functionality and to fit their needs. So, to conclude, I presented till now a lot of functionality, a lot of new features. I'm sure that in the background there will be also a lot of bugs. So we need your help to find it. So please go on the link, on this link, test it, provide us feedbacks about bugs you find, or maybe also new functionality you think it will be interesting to be integrated in the future, in the next versions of the data browser by writing to our customer care, help@opendataHub.com. We will be happy to help you in solving the bugs, finding the functionality, or even more, analyzing your needs to see if we can integrate better feature, improve the features. And then the whole project is developed as an open source project. You find the source code on GitHub at this link. And if you want, you can also contribute by sending us pull requests with bug fixing, proposal of new functionality, and we will be happy to analyze it and merge it. So don't be shy, send us feedbacks, contribute. We will be happy to have you in our community. So thank you for your attention.